There we go. And if you could just say, yes, I will accept the recording. And by the way, welcome all of you to Burgess Power Hour. And we're starting the new year. Oh my goodness, it's 2023. And I love starting our power hours for 2023 for the new year. I like starting it with our intentions and conscious intentions. Okay, so that we can create and manifest the life that we choose and deserve. How does that sound?
Good.
Wonderful.
Good.
Sounds awesome. Okay. So I want to go ahead and just have you mute. If you have background noise, you can mute yourself. And if you're on the phone, you can hit *6 or just mute. That would be great. And of course, as always, have your pen and pencil ready or something to write on paper, because we are going to start that process of intentionalizing things and looking at perhaps some of the blocks that maybe are keeping us from getting what we want in our lives. So welcome to all of you from all around the country and Canada, I guess we have now, and I've got some others joining us later. So all of you who have registered will get this recording. Those of you who are not live on the call, welcome, that are watching the replay, because you will get it as well because you registered. So I'm excited, but definitely make sure you've got something to write with so that we can play together, okay? Anybody have any questions before I start? No, all right. Well, Happy New Year. First of all, and I know a lot of you are muted and you're going, Happy New Year, because I can't hear you, okay? All right, so we're starting a fresh start this year. How about that? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
A new chapter in life waiting to be written. So new questions to be asked, embraced, and loved. So answers to be discovered, and maybe that's what we'll find out some tonight. And then we're going to live in that transformation, live in that year of delight and discovery. So that is my intention of holding this with you tonight, and to say, you know, I want us to become aware that we already possess all the inner wisdom and strength and creativity needed. Do you believe that? We already possess all that to make our dreams come true. But I do say, this is our 30th anniversary year, our 30th year of Essence of Being. How about that? And I've been involved in this type of work, personal development, for 45 years. And I will say, this is the hardest part, I feel like, for people I've taught all around the world on 6 continents. And everybody seems to get tripped up a little bit about realizing who's in control, because the source of the unlimited personal power is buried sometimes, isn't it? We forget. We forget because it's buried beneath the bills, right? Beneath the carpool or the dirty laundry or the business trip. So sometimes we don't feel like we can access all of those things at all times. We forget that part. So when we can't access our inner resources, we come to that flawed conclusion that happiness and fulfillment come from outside, that come from external events. And that's because external events usually bring with them some sort of change, doesn't it? And I know for many of us, change is scary. So we've learned to rely on circumstances outside of ourselves to move forward or backward, with that momentum that kind of moves us back and forth, doesn't it? So we hurtle around in life that way. But we don't have to do that any longer, everybody. We can learn to be the catalyst. We are the catalyst for our own change. So I just wanted this to remind us that we already possess all we need to be genuinely happy. And the way that we reach this awareness is through an inner journey, all right? And of course, with Essence of Being and all the programs and play shops that we do, it is an inner journey. And you're here tonight to perhaps do a little bit of an inner journey on an emotional and a psychological and spiritual transformation is my intention, and a deep inner shift in your reality. So let's align what is perhaps the best and highest good for all concerned. Align that with you so that you're conscious about it. So that's, you can call this universe, God, spirit, energy, higher self, source, whatever you want to call that other energy that is there, in my belief. And open up to that. Open up to the fact that we have an awareness that can come to us. And abundance is our birthright. And I do know that Patty definitely had some opening this past weekend. We just had a huge play shop in Texas this weekend called Higher Vibes. And that's one of my, what I call woo-woo play shops. But it's definitely opening up to the gifts that you have and the gifts that you will bring to the world to know that you make a difference. So we're all coming out of this isolation place. Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
You're muted. Sorry. So, you know, it's so for some of us, it's reintegrating, isn't it? It's reintegrating back into the world. It's like, who am I now? Because we all have these life lessons, I'm sure, in the last 3 years about being alone or not depending on other things like we normally would, and making new decisions about, well, you know, maybe I don't have to do 20 jobs. Maybe I can do some of this stuff at home. Or making these new decisions about, wow, I really want to pay attention to the people that bring me joy and release the toxic friends that I have. You know, there's just a lot of, I think, self-reflection that went on this year and last year and the year before that. So I invite you all to just come up with a word, and you don't have to share it, but let's start out with, let's just come up with a word for the year. So what's your word for the year? Mine's peace.
Mine is ease.
Love it.
Renewal.
Perfect.
I think mine is fun.
Yay.
Mine is abundance.
Awesome. Deborah says centered. She wants to be centered. Awesome.
Mine is action.
Action. Ooh.
Mine is myself.
Yours is what?
Being myself.
Being yourself. Okay, awesome.
Expansion.
Expansion.
Mine is love and abundance.
That's 2 words.
Abundant love.
Mine is MBA.
MBA? Getting
Yep.
what?
Is that one word?
Well, that'll work.
Is
That'll
it a
work.
word?
Getting an MBA, you mean?
I'm working through it.
All right. That's a
My
word.
goal is to have it by Christmas.
Okay, awesome. Oh, and I
Hi,
see
Bert.
Amanda.
It's
Welcome,
Ann.
Amanda. I see Ann. Hello, Ann. I hear you, honey. So I see Amanda. She did the class this past weekend, so you're flying high too. Yay. Did you already call out a word already?
Meaningful, like meaningful employment.
Perfect. Perfect. And I love peaceful from Keisha and focus from Sandra. Awesome. Awesome. So that's beautiful. So here's the thing. If you didn't shout it out, it's okay. I just want you to perhaps, sometimes we get too complicated. Let's just make it one word, right? That we're going to focus on. And what is conscious intention? What does that mean? Conscious intention. What's an unconscious intention? I mean, do you create things unconsciously, you think?
Yes.
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 Yeah, you don't even, right? Your subconscious takes over and you're like, I wasn't thinking that, but that's what I created subconsciously. So the bottom line is, this is all about being conscious with our Conscious Leadership Academy that we have, and of course, Essence of Being and all those things. So we create things, but it may not be what we want. So that's why we choose to look at things on a conscious level so that we can get our conscious and our subconscious aligned. So this is what we're going to be doing tonight, is becoming more intentional. It's about getting clear on what you really, really want to have and choose to create. It's about visioning. So a definition of visioning might be holding something in your heart and in your head, something that you choose to experience and that you express outwardly. So it's something that you hold in your heart and in your head about something that you really choose to experience, and you express it outwardly. So that can be a vision, and you can do that in a lot of different ways. It's a little different than a goal. It's not action steps. A goal, perhaps, oftentimes in order for us to get where we want to go, we have to know two things. What is it, you know? Where we are and where we're going. Right. So the GPS is the fun part, you know, it's that discovery piece. And part of visioning is to hold it. It's more impactful than just a goal. It's something that you're holding on an emotional, spiritual, physical, mental level that you're creating. You're choosing to express it, and you're creating it and you're expressing it. So it's not it's not just thinking about it. You're going to express it in some form outwardly. So if you can imagine it, you can believe it. You've heard that a million times, I'm sure. Imagination is the strongest force available to us. And guess who said that? Einstein. He kind of knew some stuff, right? So you would think Mr. Einstein would know these things, but he said imagination is our greatest force. That and compound interest. Okay. So one way to create something that we want to do in 2023 is align our conscious with the subconscious and choose to create perhaps something bigger and better than we could even possibly think about. So I'd like to think most of us are aligned, all right, and that we know that thoughts create reality. Does everyone believe that, or opening up to that, perhaps thinking that our thoughts have a vibration? They've proven this in quantum physics. And our brains don't know the difference between what we think and imagine and what we actually see that's in front of us. The scientists have found that the synapses in our brain actually triggers and fires exactly the same way, whether we're looking at a car that we love or we're thinking about a car that we love. So the brain doesn't really distinguish the difference. That's how powerful we are. So it's time to write. So you ready? We're going to focus on a couple of things. One is inspiration. So I want to just get some clarity around perhaps what your values are for this year in your life. So write down two things that really inspire you. Right, just jot down. It could be a person, but it could be something that inspires you, like seeing your kids discover something new, or seeing their potential, or maybe seeing your business expand, or discovering universal truths, or breaking through any kind of physical limitation, seeing people awaken, saving the environment, whatever it is, something that gets your juices flowing. So just jot down two things that inspires you, makes you tingle when you think about it. And if you can't think of anything, that's okay, because through this process, it'll come out, okay? And if you've jotted one or two things down about what inspires you, now write down two things that you visualize or dream about the most. So this isn't about fantasizing, but it could be something that you just dream about. What's in your dreams a lot? What do you visualize about? It could be traveling the world, business challenges being sorted out, buying a new home, having more kids, winning awards, being fulfilled, creating more wealth. Dream a little bit. And you don't need to know how. Just write down the one or two things that you think about a lot that you'd love to dream into existence. And this could be for this year or your entire life. It doesn't have to be just for this year. So you don't need to know about the how. So don't figure out how am I going to do this. That's not what we're doing here yet. And if you need more time, you can come back and do this. So it's about what inspires you and what you dream about. Okay. Because what we want to do now is kind of rate ourselves and find out where we're at right now. Because remember, you have to know two things: where are you now and where you want to go on this journey. So these visions that you have and these things that you love may not have come to fruition yet. That's okay. So sometimes in order to get someplace, you got to start where you are. So I want you to rate yourself 1 through 10. 1 being, I have no idea. I'm not there yet. I have no vision. I really don't know at all. And 10 being, hey man, I'm living it. I'm knowing it. I'm creating it. I'm feeling it. It's happening. And you can rate yourself anywhere in between. Okay. 5 is kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of there. I'm working on it. It feels good, you know. So you can kind of rate yourself 1 through 10 through these different aspects of your life. You ready? There's going to be 13 of them. Okay. The first one is your career. Now, are you at the pinnacle of your career, or are you just starting out? Are you having to start over? Are you retired? What does that look like? Where are you in that? 1 through 10. Don't think too hard. Just first thing that comes up. Repeat steps 1 and 2. Yes. The first step is just write down 2 things that inspire you. And the second thing is to write down things that you dream, whatever you've been dreaming about. Dream about the most or visualize the most. Okay. You got that? Good. So what are you inspired? 2 things you're inspired by and 2 things that you are visualizing, that you dream about a lot. Okay, great. So your career is number 1. Number 2 is finances, 1 through 10. Are you where you want to be? Do you have you want more? Do you have some way to go? Where are you 1 through 10 in your finances? And no judgment. And you don't have to share this with anybody. So this is specifically for you, okay? Number 3, your physical health. Are you an Adonis or a marshmallow? Or somewhere in between?
Don't show that we're in it. Where's our name?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and mute yourself.
I don't know how to do it.
I'm gonna mute, okay. Number 4 is friends. This is your social life. How connected are you? Do you have any friends? Do you have people that you can contact? And friends and social life might be a little etchy, a little different right now, because again, we're reintegrating, but you can still connect with them. So where are you 1 through 10? Number 5, your family. Dun, dun, dun. How are your relationships with your relatives? Are they peaceful, connected, awesome, strained, non-existent? 1 through 10. Number 6, your significant other. Do you have one? If you do, are you connected and aligned? Do you want one? Where are you 1 through 10? And there's no right or wrong answer here, okay? Just write down the first thing that comes up. Number 7 is your personal growth. Understanding who you are. Self-actualization, looking within. How are you doing with that? Number 8, Patrice's word for the year, fun. So how are you doing with your fun? Recreation or time off? Allowing yourself to play? 1 through 10. Number 9 is your physical environment. Where do you live? Are you in harmony? Is it clean? Is it organized? Are you lonely in your space? Is it messy but lovely? Just how do you rate that? Number 10, your mental attitude. Meaning, are you actively learning? Are you positive or negative oftentimes? Are you applying your knowledge? 1 through 10. You're having trouble hearing me, is that right? Are you guys having trouble hearing me?
No.
No,
it's all good.
Okay, good. All right, number 11, sexuality. Dun, dun, dun. Are you sensuous? Are you allowing yourself pleasure? Are you loving yourself? Are you tapping into that Kundalini connection, which is life force? Your life force? You feel alive? That's part of your sexuality. Okay, number 12, emotional self. Are you connected to your feelings? Are you numbed out? Or do you feel? Do you feel deeply, or are you kind of holding back? And then number 13 is your spiritual connection. And again, this is not right or wrong. Are you connected to your higher self, or God, or universe, or source, or energy, or your high heart? 1 through 10 on that. Okay. So I'll go through them one more time. 1 is career. 2 is finances. 3 is physical health. 4 is friends. 5 is family. 6 is your significant other. 7 is your personal growth. 8 is fun. 9 is physical environment. 10 is mental attitude. 11 is sexuality. 12 is your emotional self. And 13 is your spiritual connection. Now, I want you to take a deep breath and look at your ratings. So overall, are you more of a 10 or a 1 or in the middle? Can you kind of give yourself just a glance over it? You don't need to add it all up. There's no right or wrong answer here, just to kind of get a general idea of where you are in all of those if you had to sum it all up. And how do you feel about all that? Are you better than you thought? Are you in a better space than you thought, maybe, and all these things? When you break it down, it makes it kind of interesting, doesn't it? Do you feel like you have a long way to go? That's okay too. So what I'm asking you to do is to become more conscious by looking into all of these aspects of yourself. Sometimes you don't even know what you want, but to get clarity, you need to know where you are now. And don't should on yourself. I hear you out there. I hear you shoulding. Okay. Don't should on yourself if you're not as far as you'd like to be. Shoulding on yourself can get messy. That's a joke. However, then you feel guilty. And remember, those of you who have taken Essence of Being, guilt demands, you know what? You remember?
Punishment.
Punishment. Guilt demands punishment. So when you're vibrating, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, I should be in a different place by now. I'm too old to have this, or why am I not where I need to be? If you start feeling guilty or accessing that inner critic, you're going to create self-sabotage because you feel guilty. It demands punishment. So you start sabotaging yourself and you get into this spiral. Because remember, your thoughts create and inform you, and that's what vibrates. It vibrates out. You can attract punishment to yourself from other people, from institutions. because you're vibrating that guilt. What you vibrate out, you can attract back to you. And, or you can self-sabotage. Does that make sense? Yeah, so remember, what's the opposite of guilt?
Innocence.
Innocence. So just breathe in your innocence right now. Just breathe in your innocence and know whatever you wrote down is perfect. You're just gathering information and data, okay? You're just wanting to look at things clearly so you can create something, because clarity leads to power. The power to choose, the power to create. The more clear you are, the more you can vision, the more you can create everything that you choose to have. So if you're a 10 already, awesome. Are you done? So if you put 10 on any of them, what's your 20? I don't think, you know, if you're still here, you haven't ascended yet, so you're not quite done, right? So that's okay too. There's always a 20. So let's dive in consciously and create our 10, okay, on all of these items, or a 20. All right. So I'm going to give you some ideas on how to create and consciously vision your 10 or your 20. Okay, to if there's any parts of these things that you're not a 10 already, or that you're not going to the next step, this is how you can do it. You can ask yourself these questions. Okay, what new skills do I want to learn? Ask yourself these questions, and when you start answering these questions, it'll start helping you, support you in your vision. Okay, what new skills do you want to learn? You don't have to answer these now, just write the question. What fabulous adventures do you want to have? So what adventures do you want to have? Don't answer them now, just write the question. What people do you want to get closer to? How about what challenges do you want to resolve? If you have challenges in your life, what would you like to have resolved? And remember, trust and allow, and don't ask how. That's one of our sayings we say in Essence of Being, is trust and allow, and don't ask how you're going to do it. Just trust that you can allow it. That's the first step. What challenges do you want to resolve? How about asking yourself this question? What do you want to let go of in 2023? What do you want to let go of? Any grievance or resentments? If you let go of the resentments that you are still holding on to, if you choose to let it go, it really lightens your heart, doesn't it? Because when you hold on to resentment and you hold on to grievances and you don't forgive things in your life and people, it really hurts your heart. It hurts. So the goal here is to release the pain. And you're the one that's hurting when you hold on to those things. And the last question you might want to ask yourself is, what breakthroughs and insights do I want to have? Yeah. Repeat. All of those, or just the last one? So what breakthroughs and insights do you want to have? So if you can answer these questions, I'm giving you these questions to prompt your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, to prompt you into creating a vision. So those are some of the ideas to create your 10 and envision it. And write your visions and intentions down as if they've already happened, and you reflect on them. That's the little magic that I like to add to visioning, is that you take all of those 13 items that you wrote down, all the 13 aspects of yourself, You look back at those and you write a 10 for every one of them, or a 20, by asking yourself those questions. And then you write the vision of 2023 like it's already happened. So you're reflecting on it, like you're reminiscing about 2023. It's already happened. Yes, perfect. So if you write it like it's already happened, expect it. And it's sort of like you're just going, wow, 2023 was awesome. I did blah, blah, blah. And that is a really powerful way to write a vision and to put it where you can see it every day, and you can change it and shift it. It doesn't have to stay stagnant. But here's the caveat. This is the little twist. Don't get attached to it. So if you want to become attached to something, be attached to the journey, right? Not the outcome, because what you can do is you can set yourself up for failure. So how I get around all of that attachment, people say, yeah, focus on what you want, focus on it. That's great, but don't be attached to it. Because if it doesn't come to fruition, then what happens? How does that make you feel?
Like a failure.
Like you failed. Okay, so how I get around all of this so that it doesn't bring that emotional piece up if things don't exactly turn out the way I envision them to, I always say, I choose this or something better. I choose this or something better. It allows me to basically bring in the parts of the universe that I may not have access to or thought about. So in other words, maybe I don't have all my thoughts together. So I'm going to just say this or something better. Surprise me. It allows you to be free of the attachment. It doesn't have to look that certain way or that certain person. So if you want to commit to something, commit to the journey, not the outcome. Because it will happen in perfect time, whether you call it divine time or perfect time. It may not happen in the time frame you want it to have happen. And I always write I choose instead of I want.
No, I'm going to get up then. Why?
So I choose is much more powerful and demanding and commanding than I want. Want can feel like longing, like I don't have it yet. But I want it. And choose is very direct and very declarative. So the idea about all of this is to start becoming more conscious of what you are creating for 2023. And I know many of us may want to let go of some of the 2022s for a lot of different reasons. And there's been a lot of beautiful things that have happened in 2022. There are lemonade with the lemons, people. So does anybody want to share anything right now before I go to the next part? Or any questions or sharing? I see somebody manifested a new job today for someone else. That's awesome. Do I need to repeat anything? No questions or share? Anybody want to share anything?
I'll share something.
Okay, great.
The method that I've used, and it's nothing new under the sun, obviously, but the thing that's helped me the most during my journey to basically quantum leap into what I want to create is not necessarily focusing on what I want. Obviously, it's important to work towards defining that, but sometimes it has to be revealed to you. But my favorite method is identifying my blocks and working through resistances. Like I got the divine download 2 years ago about what I was supposed to be doing. And instead of focusing on trying to network and go make calls and make it happen, I went inward and I got really freaking clear and was basically my own coach about every action, thought, habit, feeling that was in resistance to how I need to show up. And so basically it's been 2 years of just focusing on the things that are in my way, because I choose to have a clear path. I'm not saying that, obviously things don't come up, but I do think that you do get to a point of alignment where when you work through all the resistances, that it's more aligned more than it's not.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Kylie. Really.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that's, I'm glad you came into our experience and essence of being, and you're creating more and more and more, huh?
Thank you, Bird. You've been
Good
such an
for-
integral part of actually removing the blocks. So thank you.
Well, we just shine mirrors for each other, don't we? We all have a mirror and we say, hey, show a little mirror of perhaps what's going on, because sometimes we just don't see it. And that reminds me that one of the things, remember, you want to say to yourself is, I choose this or something better. It's all going to happen in divine time. And the other little tool I use is 2 words. So what? So what? So what I didn't get the MBA this year? So what I didn't get the man of my dreams this year? So what I didn't get the pool done this year? So what I didn't get to travel to Italy with Burge this year, although you're invited and I went to India too. You could have come. But anyway, yeah. So what? Because now what? So people get hung up on the, but I didn't, but I couldn't. So instead of pushing that away, and this is something that a lot of new age people do, as my opinion, okay, that we do this spiritual bypass. Those of us who are involved in this kind of work, we kind of go spiritual bypass a little bit about saying, well, I'm only going to focus on what I want. I'm not going to look at all the things I don't. And when the fear comes up, I'm just going to push it away and put it in a corner somewhere, and we compartmentalize it. We just don't want to look at it. Don't want to look at that. So I know that once what you focus on expands, right? I know that. But there's a nuance around this. You may not, here's the thing, and this is something that just came to me several years ago, that you may not acknowledge your thoughts or your feelings or your beliefs, but you know it's coming. But talk to yourself, and you feel that way, but also choose to know it's on the way. In other words, we can be positive and affirm, hey, it's on its way, it's just not here yet. However, sometimes feelings get in the way. We might think we don't want to feel that, so we push it away. And my suggestion is, and my belief is, we must embrace the entire process. What you resist persists, right? It keeps coming back. What you keep pushing away keeps coming back, nipping at your heels. It wants to be acknowledged. Those feelings come up. Instead of pushing it away, it's, in my opinion, much more beneficial to acknowledge the feeling and choose to know it's coming. This or something better. It's like adding a step to visualizing. Embracing all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the dark, the light, the right, the wrong. So for instance, if you say, hey, I want to be healthy this year, I want to be thinner, I want more money. When you say it just like that, it can bring up immediately an emotional trigger or response of loss or sadness or longing. But if we just diss that and say, I don't want to think that, I want to feel that, I want to feel that, it can keep coming back. Because the emotion in the body will say, yeah, but it's not here yet. Can you really do it this time? You've tried this over and over again. So the opposite of resisting all of that is allowing it. Allow means everything. Embrace it all. It takes practice to do this. our little inner Eeyore comes out from Winnie the Pooh. It'll never work. I won't make it. Tried that diet before. I better not do it now. I'll try, but it probably won't work. Right? So little Eeyore comes out oftentimes, and it can bring, nobody really wants to feel that way, but it's there. Just like fear, when we do our mastery classes, you know, you look at fear and you say, I see you. Acknowledge it, that it's there. And what that does is it dissipates it. Instead of putting it away and compartmentalizing it and saying, I don't want to look at that. Just say, hello, I see you. I know you're there. Yes, I feel that way. And I choose to pivot. I choose to focus on something else. But don't skip that step of acknowledging your feeling around it. Okay, because you can get lost in that. Again, it can bring up a lot of loss, sadness, longing. So you might want to choose to acknowledge it instead of punishing yourself. Love it and say, I feel really sad right now, but I choose this or something better. Or and I choose this or something better. I like and. When people don't want to feel the feeling around something, it is called a spiritual bypass. And what you focus on does expand, but it only has to be a second. Allowing your emotional body just to say, yeah, I see you. Okay. If those feelings are there, they're going to keep coming back in very strange and subconscious ways. You can see it, but choose not to focus on it. It's like a little kid. If you acknowledge them, they won't nip at your heels. Like, mommy, 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 what? If you acknowledge, it dissipates it. So your fears can go fear, 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 fear. What? Okay. Those emotions won't keep recreating longing and sadness if they're recognized. That's my belief. You can get into this spiral of punishment if you keep pushing things away. You could numb out and not feel at all. I don't want to feel it. So I'm going to cut off all feelings. So my suggestion for this year for all of us is don't bypass those feelings. You can say, hey, I know it's on its way. I'm loving it into existence. And I choose this or something better. It's like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. What had to happen before she got what she wanted? What did she have to go through? She had to go through a journey, right? Of realizing that I had it all along. There's no place like home. And that tornado, all the chaos, it brought her to that new place. It brought her to that place of understanding and awareness. And if she hadn't gone through that tornado, then what would her realizations be? So chaos creates rebirth. It can. So if you look at things that way in your life, maybe we can relax a little bit, huh? And relax into the journey. As long as we're paying attention and acknowledging things as we go through our journey, embracing it and allowing it, it won't be quite as painful or stuck. And by the way, addiction happens when we numb out. You know that, right? And we try to feel good from the outside. We go to shopping, or we go to sex, or we go to drugs or alcohol or working out or whatever it is, because we want to numb our feelings. Right? You know who you are. So visualizing for 2023, all those 13 aspects, okay? And choose to bring all those up to a 10 by asking yourself all of those questions I suggested. That's a good prompt for you to, what would it be a 10? What would be a 20? What inspires me? What are my values? So again, if Dorothy hadn't gone through the tornado, she would have not gained the clarity or the love or success or the knowing that she's the common denominator. There's no place like home. She had the power within the whole time. But we keep giving our power away, don't we, outside ourselves? So we have the power to co-create our reality with everyone around us. So notice what's around you right now. Just look to your left. What's there? Now look to your right. What's there? Things are working in your life. Things do work. Look, I mean, look how grateful. Look to your left and just be grateful. Wow, there's a window. Wow, I've got files. I've got a paper shredder. Notice what's around you. If you don't want to focus on what's not working, focus on the gratitude of what you are in right this moment, in your relationship, in your career, in your house, in your space. Look around you and appreciate who you are and what you have right now. So when you're appreciative, those of you who have done Essence of Being, you know that it does not, appreciation and gratitude does not get wasted. It raises your vibration. It raises your vibration so you can attract more of that. You can attract more of what you're vibrating. You're going to get it back. It may not be from the person you want it to be coming from, but you're going to get it back. Maybe in a different way, maybe a different person, but that's kind of how it works with law of appreciation. So it's never wasted. So just to kind of give a summary of tools here. Anybody have anything, any questions so far?
Hey, Bridget, I would like to add something else, if that's okay.
Okay.
When I say that, and I think you know this, when I say that the past 3 years that I was on like that quantum healing journey and vision development, when I say that I put myself through the ringer and squeezed out all the junk, like I'm not even like minimizing that statement. And on the outside, from outsiders' perspectives, and even in my own mind, it could look like things are falling apart, but it's really important when you go through that journey and you do dive into, you don't numb out anymore, and you dive into the thick of everything that you have to work through, it looks like everything's a mess, because the truth is, it is, you know, but in that place is and working through that is the only way to truly get through on the other side. So it's easy to think that like it's not working out, but the thing is when you do work through it and you're triumphant and you overcome it, then you'll have the life that you want, and you won't have to, like, in my opinion, like, you know, like, oh, I gotta, you know, prime in the morning and do my meditation, or else it's gonna creep back. You know, you won't have to try to go to the beach for peace. You'll just be peace because you eliminated permanently the things that were lingering over you, you know. And I would say that's number one. Then the other thing is, when I had my awakening 3 years ago, you know, like before that, I was, you know, living a wonderful career and everything like that. And it looked like, you know, I was on my way to whatever I thought success was. But when my life transformed in a blink of an eye in a positive way with my awakening, there is nothing that I could have physically done to plan for that. And that catapulted me into my purpose. So I think that as much as people try to manifest and everything like that, they block themselves because they're not leaving that room for that opportunity to allow their higher self to lead, that sees the end result that we don't see in that moment, you know? So I just wanted to share those things.
That's perfect, honey. It's perfect. And I love
Thank
also,
you.
someone said, embrace the suck. Thank you. Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this or something better. It's a perfect example of we don't know sometimes, and we're just being led and guided. And to the other piece is to trust your intuition, because your intuition is always right. So you know these tools about visioning. You've heard, perhaps, we used to call them treasure maps, but they're vision boards. You create from a place of, if you're a visual person, you can cut out pictures, put them on a board, make a collage of words and things that you're creating. And it's really cool. I put them everywhere I am in my office. I've got them all over the place. And they actually, it's something that you are subconsciously it's coming into your space. Okay, every time you look at it. So remember your brain doesn't know the difference. So if you're looking at, that beautiful place that you're going to in your vacation and you see it all the time, it's coming in. It's coming in. What you're looking at is coming into your actual energy field. So creating a vision board and putting it up somewhere to look at it at all times, or putting up words or pictures or thoughts that are uplifting, to have that in your space, because you are focusing your attention, even if it's just for a second. And those of you who've done Essence of Being in all of our play shops, you know that I use flip chart paper on the walls because it's subconsciously bringing those feelings and those things into your world and into your psyche. Okay. And it's better than looking at mud. Right. So it's a good thing to be looking at, to bring in. So vision boards really do work. And I change my vision boards up whenever I've created everything on it. I create a new vision board. Remember to say this or something better. Vision, create your vision that you're going to be doing as it's already happened. Remember, go back, do your 13, write your 10s, answer the questions, look at what you wrote down as inspiration, and look at what you wrote down as your dreams. Include that, make it really bodacious, make it this gigantic vision of what you are creating. Remember, it's about expressing it outwardly. And envision it like it's already happened. When you write it out, and I keep mine next to my computer, okay, so you can change it and write it out. And remember to say, so what? So what it didn't happen last time? So what it didn't come exactly the way I wanted it to? So what I'm afraid of COVID? So what I don't have a person in my life right now? So what? Now what? So that is a really quick, down and dirty motivator. Say, okay, well, are you done? Is there anything? So what? So what? It didn't work last time. You quit? And the other thing that I usually do is I say to myself, and you can say, I choose for the highest good for all concerned, or I say, I pray for the highest good for all concerned, because you can't go wrong saying that. If you're not clear and you don't know what you really want, just say, I choose for the highest good for all concerned. I mean, can't go wrong with that. It'll unfold. Your journey will unfold if you trust and allow and not ask how. Okay. So I wanted to share a little bit of what happened, how I visioned my house. And this really works. I mean, I walked down the street and I looked at a house that I really wanted, and I visioned it. I looked at it. I smelled it. I went into, it was empty, and I broke into it, but it was open. So I just kind of walked in, but I didn't create any issues because I would not do that. Right. So I walked in, it was already open, and I'd come in and I'd look around and I owned it. I smelled it. I visualized myself building a seminar room in it. I'd say, okay, I'm going to build a seminar room in this thing because it wasn't there before. And I said, this is it for me. And I didn't know how. I didn't know how I was going to do it because at the time there was no way I could afford in my life. I didn't think of it, it just wouldn't be prudent for me to afford this place. And however, I just let that go. And then I kept walking by it and kept walking by it and kept walking by it. And then somebody actually put an offer on it. And I thought, okay, well, it wasn't meant to be, but I visualized it and I let it go. I didn't get attached. I did get attached to the journey of it, but not that particular house. I thought, okay, well, it's just this or something better. And then their deal fell through. And lo and behold, they came down on the price. And lo and behold, I still was in the mix and put in an offer and I got it. It took me about 11 months for that process. But I didn't give up. Okay. And that's the thing, is that we think, well, if this instant manifestation stuff, I mean, if it doesn't happen, then something's wrong with us, right? So I didn't give up. I kept doing it and kept doing it. Tenacity is great. And so I invite all of you to come play with me. We're doing our next Essence of Being in Atlanta, March 24th through the 26th. And if you really want to get down and you really want to shift things and have tools for the rest of your life and an experience that really catapults you into a new knowing and belief about yourself, come play with us. Those of you who've already done it, come play and come back, because you can do it anytime we do it anywhere in the world for free. You can come back and play with us. We're doing it in Texas in May 5th through the 7th. Also, those of you who are into shamanasta.com is also happening this Saturday. And just go to essenceofbeing.com and you can look at the whole schedule of events and all the things that we have for you. If you enjoyed tonight, or if you want to get deeper and you really want to stay connected, because it really takes a village sometimes. It's hard when you're alone by yourself to keep yourself sometimes remembering how powerful you are. It does take a tribe or a village sometimes, and to keep people around you to hold you positively and hold you in the light. And I invite you all to do that. So go to essenceofbeing.com and you'll be able to see when all the events are coming up for the most part. And I invite you to join us on that. Does anybody else want to say anything before we leave tonight?
Just a heartfelt thank you to you, Burge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Burge. It was very informative.
Thank you, hon. Thank you very much. So please come back. Join me next time. I'm going to be doing, I always do the Power Hour the third Wednesday of every month. And the next one's going to be on trusting your intuition.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Burge. It's good to be back with you again.
You too, honey.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
George, good to see you again.
Good to see all of you. Come play with me.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you.